That's fun. It's a totally different setup. Hi, it's Honeybee, and I'm just pontificating this morning on how to decipher all the voices in the head. Because if you're like me, you have lots of voices going on, and sometimes it's a very sweet voice, and other times it's a very strong voice, and um, most of the time, these voices are coming from our old unconscious patterns and habits. So I have been just seeking clarity for what's next. There's some changes happening in my world, and I'm really looking into what's next, and trying to get really clear because I've spent the last several years allowing myself to be guided, be led. And sometimes the guidance is very loud and it's unmistakable. Oftentimes the guidance is like, there it is, and then it's like this whole shift happens, and then the next step reveals itself. But sometimes in moments like these, where I am, the guidance is very quiet. And it may just mean that it's time to rest and not to do very much. But there is a way to attune yourself to this intuition and this guidance. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. So, it's Honeybee Henderson. This is not Wake Up Wednesdays, but it's good because this is what I woke up with this morning. And I'm going to write about this a little bit I'm going to write about this. So maybe you'll see it in a newsletter or something, also different form. But yesterday I was walking around and I realized and I decided, thanks for the love. I realized and I decided that I needed to really attune myself to the inner guidance and the inner wisdom. So one of the ways that I recommend doing this is to move your body, to go out for a walk, to have changing scenery, to allow the movement to sort of cleanse and to wash the mind. Don't take any devices with you. Allow yourself to get lost. So I remember I went a few years ago and I was practicing this, and just to see like, okay, let's see how much guidance I'm getting and how good I'm responding and what's happening. And I was in Paris. I hadn't been to Paris before for 20 years. And I was there for 10 days. And for 10 days, I had a routine, and every morning I would wake up, put my phone away, and I would walk the city. And in that walking, I would just let what guidance was coming through move me. So it literally was like, turn left, go inside there, talk to this person, do this, which I really believe that's our natural way. And we just fill our heads and fill ourselves with so much distraction. So how can I decipher the voices in the head? That's the thing. There are voices that are always communicating to us. And how do I know it's the right one? So we're going to be working on this in the next Wild Women's Weekend. So if you have any interest, September 13th to the 15th in LA, California, I'd love to have you. But we're going to be focusing in on what intuition feels like in the body. What does guidance look like in my life? How does it come through? For each of us, it's different. So, and for each time or for each phase, for me, it's been different. When I first started attuning to my intuition, the guidance would come in, followed by, if I would listen to it. Listen, the guidance always is there. Always. It's the thing is, I guess, are we listening and are we taking action with it? So for me, when I started listening, the guidance would come in and I would take action, and I would feel this tingling sensation in my third eye. Almost like the pineal gland was celebrating me for listening to the intuition. There was some sort of alignment going on. I'm not sure physically what was happening. I just know that I was receiving a lot of sensation on my forehead, on my third eye. And so I became familiar with that feeling. So when the intuition would come in, it would be very familiar to me. And then I would say, oh yeah, that's my intuition. I can listen to that. but then it changes. So we have to also be open to the way that the intuition will shift and will change us. Years ago, I was awoke. I was awakened. I woke up in the middle of the night with a voice in my head about brush your teeth. And I was tired and I didn't want to get out of my bed, and the voice was strong, brush your teeth. So I got up and I went into the mirror, brushing my teeth in the bathroom, I don't know, in the middle of the night. And I looked at myself and I just heard so clearly, we're just seeing if you're paying attention. So it was actually my intuition, my guidance, my higher self, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. There was a strong voice that wanted to know if I was listening. So part of listening to intuition is building intimacy within yourself, is building this connection. Last night I had a client who was feeling very disconnected from everything outside, but when we dug a little bit deeper, the connection that we are seeking, that she is seeking, is inward. This connection to self, this intimacy where you know and trust 100% that intuition will take you somewhere. Now, it may not take you to the most vibrant, exciting places, but maybe that's not where the journey is supposed to take you right now. Maybe it's taking you back to washing the dishes. Sri Yukteswar always tells Yogananda, he says, what do I do when I gain enlightenment? And his teacher, Sri Yukteswar, says, go do the dishes. So this kind of recipe today that I want to offer to you is like doing the dishes. It's a practice. It's practicing listening and seeing what the texture feels like in the body. Notice, I have some notes because I didn't want to miss anything. Notice, do you feel sensation here? Is it more coming from here? I know 100% now that I've been working so completely and in such devotion to Divine Mother that her guidance always comes from the left. That's for me. And I always know it's her, and I always know it's spot on, and it's usually when I'm working with clients, which is super awesome for me because then I can sit back and be like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen, watching, observing. This observation piece is very important because as we lift ourselves out of the mind, we can kind of get a little bit space, and then we can see which voices are speaking to us and what there is to do. So my recommendation today is attune yourself to that intuition. Attune yourself through practice. Attune yourself by observing, noticing what's going on. Woo, lots of love. That was fun. Insta friends, thanks. Attune yourself to those voices because you are always being guided, all of us, all the time. And it's whether or not we're ready to listen. So the other thing is, it's most important is the cleaning phase, which is in many traditions, many spiritual traditions, ancient and otherwise, have a period of fasting, have a period of cleaning the self so that we can make space for the energies, the spirit, the intuition that wants to guide us, that wants to support us in creation. So I hope this was helpful today. Let me know if you have questions. And again, if you are around in Venice, California, these are just some of the fun things we're going to be working on, which during our Wild Women's Weekend. It's a lot to say, Wild Women's Weekend. Venice, California, September 13th to the 15th. It's 2 nights. I'm really excited to host you all in my home and to fill this space up with so much love and connection and beauty and good food and depth and laughter and movement and healing in the space of sisterhood. So if you all have not been to my beautiful hive yet, I invite you to come and visit. When I first moved into this space, it was a defined agreement between Divine Mother and myself that this space would be used for transformation, and it definitely has been beyond my wildest dreams. So I'm excited to invite you into my home and into this relaxing weekend where we will learn how to attune ourselves to intuition, where we'll get into the juicy sensation, sensuality, sexiness of being woman, the depth, the beauty, letting go of grief, and holding each other through it. So there's a lot going to happen. We'll have a fire ceremony and water ceremony and ritual and prayer and movement and, like I said, good food. So we're going to have hopefully, crossing my fingers, we'll be having one of my dearest sisters come in for a cooking class. So we have a full weekend ahead, and please, if you know of someone who wants to join or you want to join yourself, please do let me know quickly, because we only have 5 spots. And yeah, practice listening in. Practice listening in. Your intuition is your key. And I've noticed that when I practice and when I focus my attention more to my intuition, the sounds get louder, the inspiration gets louder, more clear. When I forget to practice, which happens, you know, it just takes a little bit more searching around for what's the next step. So again, hope this is helpful. Share this message if you care. Check me out on YouTube. I'm starting that over there, which is so fun. And I hope to see you around the bend really soon. Lots of love, peace, blessings. And I did 2 videos. That's so huge for me. Instagram and Facebook. It's not that big of a deal, but for me, it's like, what the dodge. Do you know what I mean? What the dodge. Ellie. Love you. And Ellie, I'm coming back to Lebanon soon, so hope to see you. Lots of love, you guys. Ciao. End. Okay, I gotta end here. I think this is why people have assistants, right? So they can